The bike, as some of your subscribers will know, has been in my possession for a long time, for 25, 28 years, when I first restored the bike. And it's got about 27,750 miles on it now. And it was on the original motor. Guys would complain I'm puffing a little smoke at them once in a while, so I thought, oh, time to do a top-end refresh. So I pulled the head and I sent the head off to Baisley and I have the head redone with new black diamond valves and springs and guides, and everything's new in it. I think he replaced the seats as well. Put new pistons in it just because I did, new rings and pistons, and repainted the barrel. Gone through and did some brake work while I had time. I turned the front drum and put a new tire in the back and new rubber throughout, and put some new spark plug wires on, and ready to get it back on the road. And so today is our first startup. No, it's been a strong runner, and I've never babied this bike. It's always been ridden with gusto, and so I'm anxious to get it back on. I've had a broken foot, my right foot, a broken bone, so I haven't been able to ride it or start it. So that's why I'm hoping you guys can.
Related to the bike?
No, that's related to my Ducati, I think, kicking me back, trying to punish me again. But it's nothing to do with this. This has always been a really easy starter, so hopefully today it won't prove me wrong. And I've had time then to kind of detail stuff that when I got things off of it, it's easier to get in. And I put new header pipes on it. The other ones were pretty scuffed up and had been leaned over a little too far and scraped the sides of them a little, so I decided to put new header pipes on them, and those are the same mufflers and all, but yeah, just get a little extra polish on it. And this is a 71 model. It's built from many parts and obviously it's not stock, but it's a long-range tank, which was actually an Interpol tank, and it had the radio box built in here, and I had Evan Wilcox hammered a piece of steel, and he cut the old box out and welded it in.
We get a lot of comments about your rear set.
Yeah, Kenny Dreer made up a batch of about 10 sets when he first started doing vintage rebuilds and restorations. He wasn't doing Norton America yet. And so he built a bunch of these rear sets. This side's just a reverse lever with a folding foot peg. The other side, he made, like I said, about 10 of these. And this one's a little shorter. I think the next set he made about an inch longer, because you don't have a lot of leverage here. There's not a lot of room. You really got to stand on it to make that rear brake work. So I put new shoes in it, but the rear brake's kind of worthless anyway. But the front brake will be better now that I've had the drum turned a little bit.
And that tail section on your seat as well.
Oh, this part here, yeah, it was an aftermarket piece that was originally designed for Triumphs, the 650s. The rear bar went right underneath here. That's why it was designed this way. So when Kenny was using these, I cut it out. I shaped it so it fits the fender better there. And he had a bunch of these made up, and he had the brackets incorporated into the fiberglass. Yeah, it's a nice piece, and that's the only seat I've ever had on this bike. And I've ridden 300 plus mile days on that seat. And it's not real deep, but it's pretty well padded, and it's got my patina, my buttocks on there, so yeah,
it's got a very distinct look though, the bike, especially because you've got the road holder forks.
Well, the original concept was Kenny and I came up with that, and we went down to the San Jose Clubman Show one year. We drove all night. We decided to just drive nonstop, and we drove right from San Jose all the way home after he delivered a bike to a customer down there, and then we drove home. And so we were getting pretty giddy by the time we were 400 miles into the drive. And we came up with the idea of the Manx Commando, which was blacked out. That's why I painted did the black work here on the primary. And originally I had the front hub was all black as well. And I had a little fairing, like a little Manx fairing on it with a little windscreen and a cutout for the headlight. That's how I built this bike, with that discussion that we had in mind, and that's how this bike really developed. And then of course, the seat and the rear taillight piece and the late Atlas front forks and the whole works there, and I painted the headlight bucket and things like that, and the fenders. And I made a lot of the aluminum pieces. I decided to make my own. I made a few bits and pieces like that out of alloy. And since then, I've added the head steady from Andover Norton. It's the one they sell. That's a nice addition. You get a little more vibration out of it, but you get a lot more control out of the ride. It feels more like a featherbed frame compared to a really sloppy Commando frame. Commandos are great handling bikes, but if they're not kept in tune with the suspension, they can get a little squirrely, you know, because they're all in rubber, and if the isoelastics are out of whack, they can cause you some problems. But this bike's very tight that way. It's always been pretty good. I did change to the later Vernier style adjustable. The rear one I've never had apart. I don't want to go there. I've had those apart before with the motor and everything in, and it's too much work. So I just, it's tight. This has a little different setup too with the swing arm. This has the 3 pinch bolts for the swing arm. And Kenny was having his own shaft made. They're hardened steel, and he had them drilled and tapped in 3 places. So the original swing arm only had 1 bolt on top. And it would act as a fulcrum, and it would just pivot, and it would wear the bushings. And this has 2 at the bottom and then 1 on top, so it's pretty rigid. It doesn't move, and everything can still rotate on it, but it doesn't rock. And so I think that's part of the reason that it's been tighter than usual. The bike itself, all the running gear is very stock. There's nothing, there's no hot cams, there's no, you know, nothing nothing other than what was stock on this bike pretty much, except for super blend bearings, of course, and the gearbox has all the mods that you could do with that.
27,000 miles.
It's happened over time, and I'm just not riding at those 300-mile days anymore. But for me, it's monumental because I've put all those miles on the bike. The bike gets ridden regularly. I've ridden it to all the local national rallies, and it's won its class in each of those rallies, and it's done quite well. It's been at different events and shown well, and it also rides well, so it's fun.
Well, we're going to try and see if we can get it started.
Well, thanks for coming over, guys, and helping me.
We brought an extra leg with us.
Yeah, just in case. Hopefully you won't need it.
Extra foot.
Hopefully you won't need it.
Okay.
You want me to give it a couple
Yeah,
of
give it a
tickles?
couple of tickles.
I'll get that one small.
That's good.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
Okay. Just
No. Bring it all the way up to the top there. There you go.
I'm just afraid I'm gonna hit your sets
Yeah.
here.
All right.
Nope.
No, not yet.
You just shot the Ducati.
Yeah, that was that's good. Don't give it too much gas.
Okay.
Just feed it gas when you
When it's starting?
When it
Okay.
wants to go. Let's go. We have to go already. I gave it too much choke.
Awesome. Congratulations,
Yeah,
George.
Didn't smoke too bad?
No.
I think we'll leave it there.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Congrats.
I know it starts and runs. So.
Terrific.
Yeah, thanks, Ronnie.
Yeah.
If you want to see something pretty, you look under that red blanket there. That's for another day.
I'll take it off. You guys, you want to look.